Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you've become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Hi Mama, in this episode I invited a friend that I met on social media, and we will be talking all about kids and chores, how to get our kids to do chores, how to get delegated to them, and how to get them to actually do it that is engaging for them and less overwhelming. I'm so excited for you to listen to this episode. Let's get started. Hi Mama, welcome back to another episode. Today I have a special guest for us, and her name is Sharon. She has 6 kids. And we'll be all talking about reducing our stress by delegating chores around the house to our kids, because that is a huge thing that causes a lot of stress for moms trying to do everything themselves around the house. So Sharon, I would love to welcome you, and I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself, your story, how many kids you have, what ages they are. So introduce yourself.
Well, hi. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Sharon. I'm 36 years old. I have 6 kids. They range between the ages of 3 and 12. So we have, it's always hard to keep their ages straight because they're always changing. So we have 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 12 right now. And it's kind of crazy how we ended up. I'll try to summarize the story a little bit. We grew up learning to have kids young and fast. So I had my first kid when I was 24 years old. And then soon after had my second, and we thought we were done because that was, while that is not I grew up Mormon. And so while having two kids is, you should, you know, probably have more kids than that in my culture, we were done because it was really hard on my mental health. But we decided soon after, okay, it's too quiet. We need one more. And 2 weeks after we decided to have our third, my husband was laid off and we were in Alaska. And so we had to move home. We were like homeless and jobless for several months. We moved back to Utah to live in families' basements. And during that time, we had a family member that was going through some hard things with addiction, and she had two children. And when my third child was born, we decided that it was in everybody's best interest if we adopted her two kids. So I went from having two kids to having five kids in a 6-month span. It was very wild. And part of that time, my baby was in he had been life flighted for respiratory failure 3 times, and we were in the PICU. So it was just a really crazy time in our lives, but
to say the least. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like thinking about this, I'm like the overwhelm and the stress and just the anxiety with dealing with all of that. That's like a season for survival. And it makes sense, right?
Completely.
Like it's a season for survival.
Yes. It's funny because I had people come say, oh, you won't, like, you'll look back at this time and you'll think, oh, it wasn't that bad. I look back at that time and I think, how did we do that?
It's like a blur, probably. It was like,
oh, it's
so
just
hard.
A blur. It's just a blur. So we got a house. My husband got a job. We moved in with 5 kids. It was beautiful. And we were absolutely done having kids. And then I got pregnant on birth control. And so we had a magical last little baby number 6. And it was really special. She really ended up being like the glue to our family because she got to be everyone's baby, right? And everyone, adopted kids, biological kids, everyone got to be there for the pregnancy and the birth. And she really is our glue. So that is how we came about having 6 kids. And so now she's 3, and it feels like we're just now like figuring out kind of how to do this, right? We kind of have our feet underneath us finally.
Yeah. I mean, I have 4 kids myself, and like you want it or not, you even mom, like I can create kind of like inner peace and calm for myself. I can feel calm and peaceful, but the kids are chaotic and crazy. Like the amount of noise that my kids create and the commotion and just energy, it's crazy. Like, and having with 6 kids under 12, like I have, 4 under 10, like it's just a lot. It's a lot, and like now that since we kind of got an intro a little bit about, let's shift into chores and delegation, because a big part of having a family, right, is all the things that incorporate in running a household, right? Absolutely. It can be really overwhelming and challenging for us moms because you want it or not, even if you are a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, somehow the household running tends to fall on you, even if you're a working mom, right? Like the majority of it tends to fall on us as women. And let's kind of talk about what can we do and shift our mindset about delegating to our children. I know that my husband was raised in a home where he didn't really do much around the house. It was his mom that did all the things. She did all the laundry. She did all the cooking. She did all the cleaning. She folded their laundry. She put it away. And I'm like, no. Like my oldest is like doing his own laundry. He's folding it. He's putting it away. I'm like, I love my kids, but when they grow up, I want their future wife to come up to me and say, thank you for teaching your sons how to do XYZ. Like, I want them to have the skills and the tools and not feel like I am like literally doing everything for them. Like when they grow up and, they can decide with their spouse who does what or whatever, but I want them to have the tools and the skills. I want them to contribute, be part of the family, and do the things around the house. So tell me a little bit about how your household runs and your kids. What kind of chores do they do? And I know you have like a yearly rotation of chores. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So when my kids were really young, during our homeless phase, we were living at my sister's house, and she had her kids do one chore every single day after school. And they had that same chore for a year. And my kids were pretty young, and I thought that was crazy. I was like, for an entire year, just one chore. Are you kidding me? And now this didn't include things like making your bed and picking up after yourself and brushing your teeth, right? This was just like their extra household chore. And she said, you should try it. You should try it. And I said, absolutely not. That's crazy. So after we moved into the house, we had 5 kids. I, of course, got a chore chart, made, laminated it, put the Velcro on, had to change it out every day or every week. And inevitably, no matter what the chore chart was, because I tried several, it would fail. And it was because I did not have the capacity to change it every single day or change it every single week on top of everything else that I was doing at the time. I mean, we had 2 children that were just ripped from their homes and put in with a brand new family, like they were experiencing massive trauma. My other 3, one was on oxygen trying to just live. And it wasn't working for anyone to have their chores changed every single day or every single week. It was confusing. It added to the chaos. So I finally said, okay, we're going to try this one chore for all year long. And if we go 3 months, we go 1 month and it doesn't work out, then we can change it. There's no problem with that. And we started it, and it was absolute heaven. I found that, and as we all know, with as parents, transitioning is such a hard thing for children, especially if they are already dealing with trauma or dealing with other things in their life that they're trying to focus on. You change something and it's really difficult for them. So we started, I don't even remember the first chores that we started with, but in my brain at the time, it was like, these are age appropriate chores that they should know how to do. And that's how I decided on their chores then. And it wasn't helpful. Whatever those chores were, I don't remember. It wasn't helpful, and it kind of started falling apart. And then I realized one day that as much as I want to teach my children how to do chores and have them have chores for that reason, what I actually need right now in my life is help, right? I need something that is actually helpful right now, not just something that's going to be to their betterment in the future. So I started picking chores that were necessary to our household, like unloading the dishwasher, loading the dishwasher, taking out the trash, wiping down the bathroom sinks and countertops, things that I really needed help with. And once I changed the mentality kind of to like this idea of maybe like we live on a farm and everybody contributes to the farm and it's too much work for one person to do, so everyone needs to help. Once I changed that mentality to that, instead of like, I need to teach my children, it shifted everything for me. And it just became a lot more helpful. I became a lot more consistent in my need and my teaching of them how to do the chores, and in not disciplining them, but in making sure that the chores actually got done. So that's how we do it now. And then once COVID hit, they all used to have just one morning chore. We were homeschoolers, so they could do a morning chore. Once COVID hit, we realized that the house was an epic disaster all of the time, and we needed to add another chore on. So now each child is delegated a room, a living room, TV room, the craft room, bathrooms, and their job is to keep it picked up throughout the week. And then on the weekends, it's a little bit more of a deep clean, like wiping off the windows, scrubbing a toilet, things like that. So.
Okay. So can we, like, since your oldest one is like 12, right? Can we walk through like what are the chores that your 12-year-old does and then the other kids, kind of like just to give people some ideas? Because like my oldest is 10 and the chores that he does is load the dishwasher, and he washes the floor once a week, and then he takes out the trash every day or every other day whenever it fills up. And my 7-year-old, he unloads the dishwasher every day. And on the weekends, he washes the bathrooms because he somehow likes to do it. And my 5-year-old, he like cleans up the room and, cleans up the living room and puts the toys in the bins. And then he organizes the shoes by the front door. And then we have that little vacuum, like, a small one that he can just, walk around, in the kitchen and by the front door and just vacuum things up. And my oldest one, he is already 10. And for the last couple of years, he's been doing his laundry. So once a week, he will, put a load of laundry. He needs reminders, obviously, because he'll wait till he has no clean underwear. And he'll do his own laundry. And then the other two younger ones, I will do their laundry, but I'll sort it into baskets, and then they will fold it and put it away. So everybody kind of, has that, but daily chores is like I said, little vacuuming in the kitchen, taking out the trash, washing and loading the dishwasher, all of that. So tell me a little bit, what kind of chores do your kids do by age?
Yeah,
right now?
That sounds very similar to what we do. So my oldest, she's 12. She unloads the dishwasher. Now, morning chores are supposed to be done every morning, but I sound a lot more strict when I talk about this than actually happens, right? Like there are allowances, and I know my daughter will unload the dishwasher when she gets home from school. She has to get up really early. She's a teenager, almost a teenager. She's very tired. So, I allow that, okay, well, you can
grace. That's where grace comes in.
Yeah. And I think that they kind of earn that a little bit because I know it's going to get done. Whereas I know my 7-year-old, if he doesn't take out the trash first thing in the morning, it is going to be a fight for him to do it later on in the day. So it's just every morning, no, bud, you got to do it now. That's just how it is. Anyway. So the 12-year-old unloads every morning, and she picks up this room, the living room, nope, she's not on the living room. That's the 10-year-old boy. 9-year-old boy. She's in charge of the TV room right now. Now, we're not great picker-uppers after ourselves. We are working on that, but I always say that it is much easier to change your systems than to change your habits. So we build our family systems, our home systems around the habits that we currently have while trying to work on changing our habits. So yes, our kids end up picking up after other people, but they all have to do it. So it's all kind of fair because they're all not picking up after themselves incredibly well. So that's what she does. And these chores need to be done before we don't do much tech time in our family, but the days that we do, these chores need to be done before tech time. They need to be done before going outside and playing, going over to friend's house. We have a neighborhood. The kids just kind of run around in. And so people say well, what if they don't want to do their chore? Then they just don't get to go do those fun things. So
yeah. And you know what I do with my kids to make it sound like they're a little bit more in control of their choices? I don't say you can't go play outside until you do your chores. I will say you can go play outside after you do your chores, because it's pretty much the same thing, but the way you phrase it makes them feel like they are more in control of their choices and decisions versus you can't do this unless that. But it's like, oh, you can. Oh, I can watch TV after I do this. And so we kind of have similar rules, like in the mornings, if they want to watch something, but it's okay, all the morning chores need to get done, before, or get your backpack ready, fill your water bottle, and get everything ready, make your bed, brush your teeth. And then after all that done, dishwasher's unloaded. If everything is done, then you can watch something when you're eating breakfast or whatever.
Yes. So, I love it puts this positive spin on it. It's even if they're throwing a fit, even if they're whining about it, because inevitably they do at some point. It's just so nice to say, yeah, that's fine. You can throw a fit, but as soon as you're done with the TV room or the craft room, you absolutely can go to your friend's house. Just let me know when you're done. I don't have to nag. I don't have to yell. I don't have to get frustrated. It's just great for me that I don't have to lose my cool ever over chores because they know the boundaries. I know the boundaries, and it's, it's nice that there isn't that I stopped putting timelines, right, for things on kids of this needs to be done in 10 minutes or this is going to happen, just like
Yeah.
as soon as you're done, you're welcome to go and play.
Yeah, and they feel like they have a little bit more control. Do your kids
Mhm.
ask you sometimes? I'm like, okay, it's time to load the dishwasher or whatever. Why? It's like, because that's just what we do. My oldest one
My
would be like,
kids,
why?
my kids do that with brushing their teeth. I
I
mean,
know.
things that we do every single day of our lives. It's the can you go make your bed? Why? Like we do this every day. I
Mhm.
love you. You're crazy.
Do your kids get paid for their chores? I think that's another big one. Because in our house, there are certain things that they don't get paid for, and there's certain things they do get paid for. So, like making your bed, brushing your teeth, doing your homework, those are just things, putting your clothes away. That's just something you do because it's
Mhm.
your stuff, your
Yeah.
responsibility. But when like household tasks, like taking out the trash, like my 5-year-old can go get the mail, or loading and loading the dishwasher. Those are the things my kids do get paid for.
Mhm.
And they like for us, it's not that much, like 50 cents, 25
Yeah.
cents, like otherwise we'll run out of money super
Oh my
quick.
gosh.
Right.
Yes.
Between all the kids. And so those are the things they do get paid for. And sometimes if one of my kids is like, I don't feel like unloading the dishwasher, I don't feel like, I'm like, okay. If you don't want to, I'll ask your brother and he'll get paid for. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want him to get paid. And then they will like do their chore.
Uh-huh.
How does it work for you guys?
So I absolutely love that idea. And I think that works so lovely for some families. For me, that gave me another thing that I had to keep track of. And so we kind of came up with a way that we pay kind of our kids for chores without it being for individual chores. So we just give a bi-weekly allowance. So every 2 weeks, they get paid um in dollars the same amount as they are old, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
every 2 weeks my 12-year-old gets $12 every two
Mm,
weeks and it starts when you're 6 years old when you go to kindergarten.
okay.
And so my 6-year-old gets $6 every 2 weeks, and we do not tie it specifically to like individual chores, but essentially we say you get an allowance because you do chores because you are a contributing member to this family.
Mm,
um, and if you stop doing your chores, if you are having a bad attitude about chores, if you're being whiny, disrespectful, things like that, then we get to sit down and address allowance. And if that's something that we need to pull or cut in half or whatever. And we have done that only a handful of times. I think I did it for the whole thing. It was one of those weeks of just like, we're not doing any allowance. You're all the worst.
one of those days.
One of those days.
Yes, we all have them.
And they figured it out pretty quick and realized how much it was not fun not having money. So
Hmm.
so that's how we handle it. And once again, it's because my mental load is just so maxed out. I don't want another thing to have to keep track of.
See, I really like that. You found a system that works for your family
Mhm.
because everyone is a little bit different. Like for us, we have a thing that they write down their money. And if they write
Mhm.
it down, they get paid. If they don't write it down,
Then they
it's
don't get
like
paid.
they don't get paid. So there are
Mhm.
many times where they would do the chore and they would forget to write it down, especially my oldest, he'll forget it. But
Mhm.
my second one always writes it down. He never forgets. And
Yeah.
it's like that second one gets paid more than the oldest because he keeps track of his money. And that's just and ours is like once you get to $20, that's when you get paid out. So it's
Oh,
like
that's smart.
everybody kind of gets like their, that way I'm not like paying 50 cents, except for the 5-year-old. Sometimes
Yeah.
he's like, I want to go to the gas station. I want to get a
Yeah.
treat. Can I vacuum and get $1? Sometimes so many times he does stuff and he doesn't get paid for. So then it's like, he'll vacuum for 2 minutes and he'll get $1 or something.
Yeah.
But,
And that's how we do like our young kids. They don't get I guess it's only the one now, the 3-year-old. I don't give her allowance. She doesn't even really upset chores right now. She just helps me with my chores.
mhm.
And every once in a while she'll help the older kids with their chores.
Hey, Mama, if you're ready to stop overreacting with your family, this is for you. Let's imagine together. You wake up in the morning and have your coffee in peace and silence. You're able to fill up your own emotional cup before your kids get up. You are able to remain calm and grounded even when your kids are going a little crazy. No yelling, no screaming, no explosions on your end. Just you remaining grounded, collected, and understanding. Your day feels good. You feel good. You're confident. You are a good mom for your kids. Even on your hard days, you have support from your spouse and your kids. You have boundaries and limits to protect your energy. You know when to say no to protect your peace. You feel restored. You feel balanced. You feel peaceful and calm. You're able to remain regulated. When your kids are having hard moments, you can come alongside them because you are in a good place yourself. You know exactly what you need on your hard days, and you have no problem asking for it and creating that for yourself. You're setting a positive example for your kids in managing stress, boundaries, and emotional regulation. How does that feel? I know it might sound a little crazy and a dream right now, but what if I told you it's totally possible, even with young kids? I know it because it happened to me and the mamas that work with me. I've been where you are now, feeling like a failure, raising my voice and yelling at my kids, resenting my family for all their needs, feeling guilty for resting and thinking that I'm lazy, dreaming of alone time without kids crawling all over me. Now I'm literally living the days I've been thinking about. I get to wake up before my kids and have my alone time. I get to ask for support and help guilt-free. I get to feel restored and calm. And this was possible because I did the inner work that is required to shift my mindset and took action while surrounding myself with support. This is exactly why I created my one-on-one coaching program, to help you prioritize yourself without guilt. Ask for help, set healthy boundaries, release your stress, regulate your emotions, and set a positive example for your kids. Now you can finally be that mom you desire to be for your kids. This is for the mama who's craving to feel calm, collected, and restored. 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching, unlimited Monday through Friday support between sessions. You can stop dreaming and start living your life. If you're ready to make 2023 the year you finally said goodbye to survival mode, send me a DM with the word coaching or an email with the word coaching, or there's a link for a sales call below.
Oh, and actually, I did want to tell you, something that I absolutely love about your podcast and the way that you talk about things on Instagram is that so many people who talk about parenting present parenting as in like, this is the best way to parent and you should be doing it this way. And that's just what I love about you, is that you're like, no, you're an individual and like, here are all these different ways that you can do this, and you need to figure out what's right for you and your family. And that's so refreshing to hear and see.
Thank you.
You're just lovely.
Aw.
So I was going to say, I think a big question I get when I talk about chores is, when do you start chores?
Yes, that was the question.
Oh, great.
Like I missed asking that one when I was looking at.
So as I said, really up until preschool, like the year right before kindergarten. Before that, it's just help mom out. Really, your mom's helper. You're helping fold, put away.
And they like it. They like
do.
it. At that point, they love to be helpful. And I mean, they don't do a great job at it, but they feel like they're contributing and they love to fold the washcloths or whatever, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's so important. Like it's hard sometimes to let your kids help when it's not really helping. And you need to take a deep breath and center yourself and say, it's okay that they're not doing a good job. It's okay that it's halfway folded or not the way that I would do it. They aren't going to do it perfect. But if we're constantly correcting them, constantly like telling them that they can't help because they're not doing it right or even thinking it, then they are going to get a bad taste in their mouth for chores. Right. And that's not saying there are plenty of times where I absolutely say, this is a mom job right now. Like, let's find something else for you to do. But in general, it's important for us to kind of like tuck away that perfectionism with our little kids, and let them help as much as they can. So we start the one chore thing in preschool, and it's really simple. Their chore in preschool is to wipe down all of the doorknobs and handles with the Clorox wipe.
Mm.
We're a high risk family because of our son. And so that's something that really needs to be done. It's something I'm a little bit, have a little anxiety over. So that's their chore. And they do that every single day. And then of course, helping them make their bed, clean up their room, things like that. And then once they hit kindergarten, their morning chore is to feed the cat and to clean up. You mentioned the same chore, like arranging the shoes and kind of the front area. And then we have a cordless vacuum, which I highly suggest to any mother. Oh my gosh, that was life changing for me. I know it sounds silly that a vacuum would be life changing, but a cordless vacuum, your kids can actually use it. I don't have to lug it out every single, plug it in, get a cordless vacuum. And so that's how we start them. And it's so far so good. I think we've done that with, 4 of our 6 kids, and they get into the routine. They know that that's just what we do now, a morning chore and an afternoon chore. So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah. And I can give you one tip that has been helpful with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
When sometimes chores are boring, right? Like we sometimes don't want to do certain things because they're kind of like boring. So one of the things I've been teaching my kids is like, if you're bored, let's make it more fun. Like it still needs to get done, right? But how can we make it more fun? So with my oldest one, when he's loading the dishwasher, he's like, one of the things I'm like, you can listen to your favorite music. He has a Spotify playlist and he'll turn on his favorite music. That is like one of the things. Or my middle one really likes to listen to kids podcasts, kids stories, and he'll listen to a podcast. My youngest one loves music as well. He loves like my boy, he's 5-year-old. I swear he's going to do something with music. He just loves things that are super like upbeat. For me, it gets annoying, but he just loves things with like lots of energy. He'll like jump around the house with the iPad and like, because he's got so much energy. But like, so turn on their favorite song and be like, okay, as long as you have 5 minutes to clean up, this room or whatever. And so then it's like way more engaging. And then with like the younger ones too, sometimes it's hard for them to start the chore. That's like let's say you send them to the room and it's so overwhelming, right? Like there's a ton of stuff and it's really, really hard to start. And I think you were talking about like in one of your, either it was a reel or I don't remember if it was like TikTok video, but like giving them like smaller chunks of things to do. So it's like less overwhelming to start out with. Like,
yes.
If there's a ton of toys, you're like, okay, just pick up the blocks first and put them in here. So then it's like less overwhelming for their brain, because let's say I send you to a garage that's a complete mess and I'm like, go clean. If you're not in the mood, right? And it feels super overwhelming and like you don't have anything to make it more fun and engaging, you naturally want to resist it, right? I think
Completely.
like all of us are like that. So how can we work with them and not just like against that, right? How can we create it more engaging, more fun? And sometimes I do have to like, if I'm in a good mood, I'll be like, okay, let me help you start. And then like, I'll get started with them for like a minute and then they continue just to get it going with the little ones, with like cleaning up and stuff. What do you think about that?
I think that those are all absolutely lovely points. And I talk a lot about that as well. And not so much about like the fun part, although we do like put on music and do all those things. But in your analogy of us walking into a garage, right? And saying you have to clean this. And even for us, it's completely overwhelming. This is the thing. It's completely overwhelming for us. And we know how to clean. We have all this experience of having cleaned before. These children, like we don't realize like they don't know how to clean. We think, oh, because you created this mess, like you should know, like you just pick it up, put it away, just pick it up and put it away. But it's like a different function in our brain. And so what I talk a lot about on my various platforms is different ways of cleaning. And I really like to teach my kids those different ways. You have like the pile method and the category method is what you were talking about.
Let's talk about those. Can you talk about the different ways of cleaning? Because I think that would be really helpful.
Okay, so short summaries. The pile method is when you take everything in the room that isn't where it is supposed to be and just put it in one big pile in the middle of the room. And then you have either baskets or just kind of like labeled areas around that pile of where they're supposed to go. So if I was in the living room, I'd put everything in that pile, and then I would have a smaller pile of, okay, this is everything that goes into the playroom. Okay, now I have another pile where all the books are going to go in that pile. And you don't leave that pile until everything is categorized into the smaller piles. And then you just pick up those small piles and put them in the room that they belong in. This is really helpful for my ADHD because I'm not leaving the room for every individual item that I have to put away. I'm just leaving, once to put everything into the craft room, once to put everything in the bathroom. And the pile gets small really, really fast. And you get immediate satisfaction of the room looking clean when you have everything in the pile. A lot of times I'll put it in the pile and then I'll vacuum, right? And dust. And so it looks really clean and it's motivation to keep going. So I use that one probably more than any other ones for myself. My kids, they kind of toggle between that one and the category method. And you can intermix the different methods as well and kind of create your own variations. Now, the category method is exactly what you were talking about. You say, okay, I'm going to pick up all of the blocks. Now I'm going to pick up all of the dolls. Now I'm going to do all of the cushions and all of the blankets. A lot of people, I've read in a lot of the comments when I've talked about this, a lot of parents will do fun things like do everything that's blue. Okay, now do everything that's smaller than this stuffed animal, and they kind of change it up and kids think that that's really fun.
And it works really good for like young ones.
Yes,
it works. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like 10-year-old would be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone, whatever.
Yes, exactly. Come on, Mom.
My 10-year-old like roll his eyes. But like ones that are like 5 and 4, maybe up to 7, I think they kind of like that.
Yeah. And we do that enough now too. Like I have ingrained that in them enough that, so I have 3 kids who share a room right now, the 3 youngest, and their room is the playroom / their bedroom. And they'll go down there and the oldest will say, okay, guys, we're going to do everything that's blue. How fast can we get everything that's blue? Or you get all the green stuff and you get all the yellow things. And they totally make a game out of it. And it's fun that they are able to do that by themselves sometimes. I have to help a lot, but sometimes. And then the last method that we use is the area method. I use this in the kitchen for myself. I don't use it a lot with the kids, but sometimes they're in the mood. And so we use it that way. And essentially you just pick one area of the room and you just work on that one area until it's clean and then you move on. So, one corner or the little loft area, or because the 3 kids share a room, I'll put a line with tape and say, okay, this corner's yours, this one's yours, this one's yours. And even in that area, you can do the category method. You can do the pile method. And that one, like I said, that one's really helpful for adults, for mothers in the kitchen. I find that one's really helpful for me. Once again, it kind of gives me that quick motivation of like, look how clean this is. It only took 5 minutes. Now I can move on to the next area and know it's not going to take forever. And as a parent, if I get distracted, at least that looks like I got something done, right? If I don't actually get the whole thing done. So those are the methods that I teach my kids. And like I said, I think it's really important that we understand that kids need to be taught how to clean, and they need to be reminded and retaught and just that repetition. We can say, go clean the toilet, go scrub the toilet. They don't know how. We need to show them how. And when we do our yearly switch, I spend the week cleaning with them every day, kind of lightening my delegation a little bit, me helping, and so that they learn how to do it and they have that repetition.
So do you do the switch in the new year, or is there another time of the year where you do the switch?
No, we do it at the school year, which it sounds like that's overwhelming with a lot of changes occurring at the same time. And I thought about changing it, but it hasn't been an issue yet. So we just keep doing it. We have a big dinner Sunday night before school starts. And remember though, we typically have been homeschoolers. This is our first year being in public school full time for a long time. And I thought maybe this is going to be a hard transition because you're going into school for the summer and you're getting new chores. But I think maybe it's been helpful because everything is changing. Right. And so it fits with everything else that's going on. I don't know. It hasn't been an issue yet. If it becomes an issue, we'll definitely change how we approach that. And I think that is something that's so integral to as mothers. And I don't know if you feel the same way. There are systems that I try, whether it's laundry or dishes or chores, and then they don't work out. And I used to feel like I failed, right? Like, what is my problem? I'm not consistent enough. I'm not whatever. Do you understand?
Yes, I get it.
Felt like that.
Oh yeah.
And now, as kind of like an older parent now, I understand that like, oh, this isn't failing. This isn't me failing. This system failed because the system isn't what works for our family. So we just need to find something that works and either make some small changes here or there or completely override the system. And that's fine too. But we don't need to see that as a failure on our part. It's that this does not work for our family. And that's okay because not everything is going to work for your family.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think that is like kind of like a sigh of relief, just because it's not working, that doesn't mean that you're failing. Maybe things just need to be shifted a little bit and just done in a little bit different way and finding a system that works for your family in this season of life and the ages of the kids that you have,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing with the mamas. I know that a lot of moms that do listen to my show, they have younger kids. So I know this will be super, super helpful for them. Tell us where we can connect with you. I know you have a big audience online and I've binge watched a bunch of your TikToks and Reels when I first found you. So tell us a little bit where to find you. And tell us a little bit about your Good Enough Parenting a membership, right? Or like that you have for mamas. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Sharon a Life. It's Sharon _a_ life. And I did just start a Good Enough Parenting Club. It's through Patreon. So it's $3 a month. And we meet once a month. I'm hoping to make it twice a month. And we kind of talk like this. We meet on Zoom so we can all contribute. And we just pick various topics like chores or the holidays. Sometimes we have guest speakers. This is relatively new, so we're kind of figuring out where it's going, but I've been able to connect with the loveliest women. And that's just like, either you can find that on the link in my Instagram or my TikTok in my bio. And then I also have a book club, and that is actually not parenting related at all. It's just a place for, we read once a month and then get together on Zoom. And that has been a lovely, not escape, but just to add on to our life of a place that we can go and chat and not be moms for just a minute. It's really, really lovely. So if you want to join, I would love to have anybody. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for having me here. This has been so wonderful. You are lovely. And the community that you're creating is just absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.